The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Thanks so much for kicking off your trading week right here with me at TFNN. We pick things up with markets. Pretty calm to start off the trading session. We get the S&Ps right now, negative by 3 points. You see the action overnight. A little bit of a sell-off from where we were at about 3 a.m. Eastern time. Jumping around for a quick moment, folks. There we go. And you got the NASDAQ 100 down by 21 right now. Just 1 second. Okay. Forgive me. We jump around to the Dow. We get the Dow up 13 points right now, and the Russell up by 2. Crypto pulling back a bit over the weekend. Crypto down about $1,300 right now. We take a look at the daily. Quite the spike to $125,200 for Bitcoin. Ethereum, quite a little pullback. You make it up to $48.25 just like that. We're 10% off the highs. You look at Ethereum. Yeah, we traded down to 4,200 and change this morning. We're bouncing a bit. How about crude? $61.92. Filled up my gas tank this weekend. $2.88, not bad at the pumps. We jump over to yields this morning. You got the 10-year up 4 ticks right now. We're going to hear a lot of chat about Chairman Powell and rates, of course, in the next month as we approach the September meeting. You jump over to the dollar right now. Dollar just above 98 at 98.07. And you jump to gold up by $6 right now. We jump back to yields. So it is remarkable when you look. We have the Tuesday number for the CPI. You get some volatility on Tuesday. The market accelerates and finally kind of accepts the number from Tuesday on Wednesday. We get higher price and lower yield with a CPI that passed the muster test, market not worried, and then we got the PPI. Right? And so Mario said, oh, hold on a second. Okay. Producer prices up by 0.9% on a monthly basis. We're going to have to go slowly here and make sure. And that's where we are. Right back to where we were prior to that CPI number. So we got about a month until the Federal Reserve. And with that in mind, yeah, we got 2 of them. So, 2 articles in terms of bond markets, rate cut bets hit decisive stretch. Now, this Friday, okay, Jackson Hole. He's made some headlines, all right? Powell's speech on Friday at the central bank's annual gathering kicks off a make-or-break stretch for the Treasury market, which sees a quarter-point rate cut next month as virtually a lock. And as I was stating, we're still seeing almost 3 cuts priced in over the next 3 meetings. We'll pull it up right now. And in terms of the September meeting, let's see where we're at. September, oh, look at this, though. Look at this. Sometimes these outlier risks, right? September, only an 83% chance of a cut right now. That was 99.99 after the CPI. That was 99.99 after the CPI. To put that in context, and this is why I say percentages on small numbers can be deceiving, folks, okay? There was a 1 out of 1,000 chance, 99.9%. There was a 1 out of 1,000 chance. Now there's almost a 1 out of 5. Yeah. You went from a 0.1% chance to almost a 20% chance. Yeah, that's quite a percentage. Now, you go to December, and it's shifted now to 2 cuts. It was predominantly 3, but you can see the cuts getting pulled out of this market. Okay? And when I say pulled out of this market, folks, there's still an 80% chance that we're getting 2 or 3 cuts by the end of the year, with now 2 being heavily weighted and a 16% chance we get 1. But these numbers, give it a day or so, right? Give it till Friday, folks. You're going to see the lead up. And you're going to see plenty of articles about what Powell should do. Has reason to hedge. Jackson Hole signal as data zigzags. Yeah, you better believe it. That's CPI data and the PPI data. But he's used Jackson Hole. It's an important speech. Okay, if he wants to make some headlines, that's a good one. An opportunity to flag policy shift. I'm not sure. Does he do it after a PPI at 0.9%? Why do it, right? Why do it when you can't just give yourself another leeway? They still get a full month of data before they come in for the September 7th meeting. You're still going to get the August data. And yeah, they just go over the volatility we talked about and the wait-and-see approach. But that's the worry in the market right now, folks. 0.9% on the PPI front. Consumer prices, not so much, but you do look at those consumer prices numbers, and we're approaching, 3.1 on a yearly basis? I don't think the Treasury Secretary is going to get his 50 basis point cut that he was calling for on the CPI. And, part of me really thinks that they're okay with that number not being down to 2%. And that might be okay. In the back of my head, and not too far back, folks, you say to yourself, how are you ever going to pay for this type of debt? Right? The country. Well, one way to pay for it is through growth, for sure. Another way is through cutting. Neither side is going to cut. That just is not happening. We saw that right now. All right. If there were going to be cuts, that was the time to do it. The big, beautiful bill. Didn't happen. Okay. So that's not going to happen. We're not going to cut our way. And that's probably a good thing because, you can't cut your way, right? It's like the same thing as a company cutting, but we do have a spending problem. That's why I say, I'm sure people's ears perked up, but it's the entitlements, folks, all right? It's not the Doge deal. That's not saving anybody's grandkids from debt that they can't. It's the entitlements. And the big, beautiful bill didn't touch any of them practically. You're getting the Medicare deal, but not to the tune of $3.8 trillion. So you say, okay, how's this going to happen? Well, one way it happens is you get inflation, okay? You devalue the dollar that your debts need to be paid back in. So if the only risk to cutting rates too quickly is that our debt gets devalued, I think that's a risk that this administration is willing to take. And they're going to make the case that if inflation comes back, right, well, what happens? Then they have the ammunition where you can come back and you can hike. Boy, can you imagine the Federal Reserve Chair talking about hikes in the face of a weakened economy in this administration? Tough to imagine that getting a reasonable take from the president, okay, but that is the risk. Well, if that's the only risk, then maybe they're willing to take that risk, right? Maybe they're willing to say, you know what? We're going to have inflation run at 2.8%. We're going to cut this economy with rates. We're going to power it. Worst case scenario, we're running 3% inflation. And guess what? We're growing enough and we're inflating that the value of the dollar is actually helping us when we're talking about a devalue of the dollar on a currency basis when you talk about inflation. And that is the risk. All right? Everybody wants cuts, folks. Everybody. The only people that don't want cuts, they would say, is that the risk is on the other side, right? Inflation. That is the only cut. So in the short term, yeah, you better believe it. Real estate prices, we went over it, okay? We went over the home builders last week, right? The acceleration, the pullback. You got Lennar up a bit today, up another $1. But I think that's what's going on, man. And you know what? Longer term, yeah, they're willing to risk a little bit of inflation right now because guess what? You inflate a little bit right now, all that debt you owe, yeah, that's going to come back and pull back a little bit as well. All right, folks, we'll go over some equities this morning that we got moving. When we get back, we get the S&Ps right now. Negative by 6, NASDAQ 100 off by 41, and we got Jackson Hole coming up Friday. Stay tuned, folks. We'll talk some equities. Don't go away.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&P's negative by 5 right now, and you jump back talking about Powell and Jackson Hole. Now, what's interesting here is you jump to the historicals. Here we go. Nope, we're up a little bit. There it is. So, it's amazing, these two articles. So, first they talk about, they could combine them into one because it's a great article. This is the one talking about Powell has reason to hedge at Jackson Hole. This is the one talking about the bond market, but here's the Jackson Hole impact, okay? In the black, you have the 2-year yield move on the Fed, on the day the Fed chair spoke, okay? This is at Jackson Hole. Now, you had 2024. There's some big moves, right? Look across the board. The 2-year in 2023. Now, 2019 was an issue. But yeah, there are some big moves. So at the symposium last year, he signaled the Fed was ready to lower borrowing costs from a 2-decade high, and that's where you got a big move there. Some traders are bracing for a repeat of that decision. A series of large option trades have targeted a half-point move next month. That's not happening, folks. Even after the jump in producer prices. That's not happening. And yeah, those bets become profitable if the market priced in about 40 basis points of easing into the September meeting. That's because there's not 40 basis points in the meeting right now. Okay, and this is a great example to go over. Because for those of you that are looking for yields to drop dramatically on the 10-year, right, on mortgages, even on the 2-year, there's a lot of cuts priced into this market right now. Okay, you go out to December, and this market's thinking we get 2, 3, and possibly even 4 cuts by then. Well, if we get 3 cuts by December, we're not that far ahead of what's already priced in. Wait, was that January? No, forgive me. That was January. No, and I was like, wait, that's vicious. Okay, so even better. Let's go to January, right? 2, 3, or 4. There's 4 meetings. There's a 16% chance they cut 4 times. Right? There's a greater than a 50% chance right now that they cut 3 or 4 times. So there are a lot of cuts priced in. Now, yes, if they actually get there, right? If you get to 4 cuts by January, yeah, you're taking out the 33% probability that they've only cut twice, the 10% probability they've only cut once. Yes, that will jack rates down. Okay, not jack them down. That'll bring rates down, right? But there are many cuts already priced into this market, folks. So the real risk here is that the cuts don't happen, in my opinion. Okay, if the cuts happen, you're going to see rates come down a little bit, right? Pressure is on. And yes, we got a new Fed chair coming, okay? But at some point, the market forces do matter, right? Like 0.9% PPIs, those are going to matter if they start translating to a CPI on that level. All right. So yields are going to be in focus. Jackson Hole Friday, Chairman Powell. Let's jump to Google. Let's jump to nuclear power. Google and Kairos Power will deploy advanced nuclear reactor to help power the company's data centers on the Tennessee Valley. 50 megawatts of electricity, enough to power about 36 homes. It's a 2-reactor developed by Kairos, the Hermes 2 reactor. It's amazing how nuclear's, I mean, it's all going to be, it's going to be energy, folks. And it's amazing that it's kind of always been energy, right? Not really, but it has. You think about energy, whether it's coal to move trains, to develop cities, energy. So they signed this agreement last year to launch the startup's nuclear technology at a commercial scale. Yeah, and the reactor's output about 36,000 homes. They need more than that, man. It's going to help power Google's data centers in Tennessee and Alabama. And yeah, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole. So this one's talking about, so Google has placed orders with Kairos for reactors totaling 500 megawatts of power that are targeted to come online through 2035. And the next 10 years are going to be wild, man. Okay, and this one's just 50, so that's 1/10. So they're going to have 9 more of these, right? This one's 50 megawatts of power. They've made a deal with them to do 500 megawatts of power. And then you talk about, right, the plans for logistics companies. Okay. Talking about 10 gigawatts. Now that's megawatts, folks. 500 megawatts, 50 megawatts. How about a gigawatt, right? Which is 1,000 megawatts. It's amazing, man. And this is over 10 years. Google's doing it over 10 years. They're making 10-year plans. Prologis, 10 gigawatts a day. And this is an old article from February, folks, okay? But you look at this, and so what? They just said 50 gigawatts powers 36,000 houses, okay? The 10 gigawatts is coming from a portfolio of 6,000 buildings and 15,000 acres of land they already own and control. And yeah, one thing that they do not do is hold 100% interest in data centers on our balance sheet. How much do you think it's going to cost to build out 10 gigawatts of data centers when you just go over the deal with Google? They currently have 1.4 gigawatt of secured power for data centers in its pipeline, with another 1.6 in advanced stages of procurement. Now, that's from February. But in all, it's 10 gigawatts over the next 10 years. Now, the power of 10, folks, right? The power of 10. Even God himself spoke with the 10 commandments. No, I can't. But 10 gigawatts, 10 years, they go for it's quite a piece, but it's there, man. And nuclear power, it is amazing when you put where that is, man. Yeah. And then you go to, how about nuclear power? It's going to drive maybe 10% of data center demand in the next 10 years. 10%. And it probably should, because where else are we going to get that data? We'll talk a little bit of uranium stocks when we get back. Stay tuned, folks.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open, and you got an S&P kicks things off negative by 7 points right now. NASDAQ 100 negative by 21. We had a little bit of selling coming into the day on Friday. We take a look at the price and volume on this market. Jack up that volume. Take that off for some clarity. And yeah, no real acceleration in the NASDAQ 100. Okay, on Friday, 434,000 share contracts. Day prior, 487. All right, no real lightening up as well. Just kind of chopping around. You jump over to the S&Ps. No massive selling on Friday. There's no fear in this market right now, folks. Okay, the VIX sitting at 1543. Yeah, we're a bit elevated from where we were on Friday. But all things considered, you get a little blip, it pulls back. We had a VIX, 1460 kicked off Friday trading. You back it up to last week. I was going to say we had lows after that CPI number, 1430. Things got a little spicy on the PPI, though. And all things considered, we got an elevated VIX. VIX was at 15 on Friday. Okay? Watch that VIX. The S&Ps are only negative by 4. We got quite a little spike up to 16 overnight. Okay, watch that VIX. It can be indicative of things coming down the line if fear starts creeping into this market. We'll see if Chairman Powell wants a little fear in this market come Friday. You jump back to the dollar right now. Dollar just chopping near 98. You check out the gold contract at 33.87. And yeah, how about gold last night? All right. Sunday night, ripping to 33.68. Volatility up to 3,400 and change. And just like that, we're back to 33.87 right now. All right, let's see how some of the big dogs are trading. Amazon, down by 0.2%. Quite a week for Amazon last week, right? Tuesday, you were at 219. You were at 234. Almost a 10% acceleration on Friday from where you were on Tuesday. Apple, there's a bit at the open for Apple, up by 0.3% right now. Google, I mentioned that news with nuclear in play, down by 0.2%. Meta shares, ooh, what's going on with Meta, baby? All right. Fourth restructuring of AI efforts in 6 months. Huh? What are they doing? I don't know, but they're selling it, man. I was saying, down by 3%. Let's take a look at the daily of Meta. Man, that's a little bit dicey when you look at that chart, right? I almost don't even got to tell you. You look at that chart, it's almost like intuitive, okay? And I know it's not. If you're just joining this channel, folks, you're checking it out, okay? Price and volume, timing of the trade, my dad's trading system. But, you get this huge acceleration on volume, okay? But look at the volume wane. And then we get higher and give it up on Friday. This is a daily. Now, we'll see how the volume goes today. But maybe we're going to come back and fill that gap at 700. And that's not a big move when you have an equity, folks, that just traded from 88 to 764. Now, you really want to see the wild thing is? All right, 740 is the high out here from February. You had a huge breakaway, folks, on their last earnings that you broke the B point. Right? That was the break of the B point. That was the break of June 30th. This is how you like to do it. Now, I'm looking at this right now. I think Meta might be a buy, and you set your stop right at the highs. You break below there, you get out the trade. Okay, but if that area holds on Meta, you might be pushing 1145, folks. Okay, because that's quite an A to B. It is the definition of a straight line move. Now, the only thing that doesn't quite match up is you really didn't even have that big of a pullback, except, yeah, you did. Look at it. It's a 382 pullback, okay? It's a 382 pullback to a T. So you have a straight line move. A point, $88. B point, almost $750. You do a 382 retracement of that move, brings you down to the April lows of about 480. And if you do it again, you're pushing 1145. And then what do? You break the B point with volume. Okay? If I was updating time of the trade, folks, I think this would be a great candidate for a possible breakout past the B point. And hey, we'll see where it plays out. Doesn't mean it's an automatic. It's nothing like it. Okay? We know it's a game of probabilities, not of certainties. But that's a strong move. And it's always nice when you line it up where you have the high from June 30th, you got the high from February, and again, that high from February about 740. So yeah, if you're looking to get in meta, look for a test of that B point, and then hold on for the ride, man. And hey, you know, with everything Meta's got going on, okay, this company is not even a $2 trillion company. And I say that as in they're only a $1.9 trillion company. For the valuations in play here, for the money that he's spending, for the people that he's got, it wouldn't be outlandish for that to be approaching a $3 trillion company, okay? And that's what 1145 would be. All right, you got markets clawing it back right now. Let's check in on the chips. There you go. Now, speaking of A to B, C to Ds, NVIDIA makes an all-time high last week. On a weekly basis, pulled back a little bit. Yeah, Zuck controls like everything in Facebook, right? He does. He's got those voting shares, baby. See it daily. All right, a little bit of an uptick in selling. Look at these last 2 red days. We've had some selling on NVIDIA here. We'll see how the volume comes in today. It's always a little bit of a red flag. Wednesday, Friday, selling with an uptick in volume. All right, let's jump to the uranium stocks. Cameco, down by about 0.3%. And speaking of fusion, yeah, it's a great question, Duffy. So look at Nucor, down by 1.7%. I wonder if this is on. Oh, no, this isn't it. New Holding, excuse me. NUE, right? Yeah, there it is. There you go. Different chart. Talk about it. Up by 0.4%. So this is steel. No, that's not it. Okay. All right, we'll jump to it. CCJ's been a powerhouse, man. But you got to digest these gains. We just went from 35 to 80 bucks since April, folks. All right, and a test in that one, you come back, could be 62 bucks. Because again, where do we have volume on this chart of CCJ? And I love CCJ. I have CCJ in my retirement account, folks, okay? But you better believe in the short term there's going to be some resistance. All right, we just finished a 1 to 1.618 expansion. Okay? And yeah, that's really not an A to B, C to D because you come back and test it. But it still accentuates the size of the move. You did a 1 to 1.618 expansion of the entire move you did at the end of last year, which was a double almost. You went from 35 to 65. You pull back and you do 161% of that move up to $80. All right, market's chopping around. S&P's off by 4. We check back in on yields. You get the 10-year right now, positive by 2 ticks. We're coming right back, folks.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&Ps negative by 7 right now. Market slightly in the red, but you look at this chart, and that's a daily, folks, and it looks like we're sitting at all-time highs, and that's because we basically are within about 40 points of those all-time highs we made on Friday at 65.08. And as I mentioned, no real selling in that day as you gave it up on price a bit, but volume-wise, no real selling whatsoever. And yeah, we had a great question in the Tiger's Den talking about Fusion. And yeah, there is a lot going on in Fusion, man. And these companies are going to have to diversify what they're trying to do any way they can get their hands on it, okay? And you have company Helion begins work at a fusion plant, expects to deliver power to Microsoft by 2028. And the cloud provider, Microsoft, signed that power purchase agreement for nuclear fusion back in May 2023. Fusion represents an inspiring frontier in the world's pursuit of clean and abundant power. And yeah, this is the key, though. The path to commercial fusion is still unfolding. Now you jump to there. And then you have Commonwealth Fusion Systems. They got a deal going on with Google. They public CFS? No. But yeah, the battle's going to be on, and Fusion is going to come into this. Let's see. Yeah. And I'm jumping around. There's another one common right outside Boston. So Commonwealth Fusion Systems, they're going to send Google 200 megawatts of electricity from the ARC power plant, which is expected to come online in the early 2030s. Fusion power. And they're going to buy half the output of their first commercial power plant. Yeah, and they're raising billions. That was in 2021. You talk about a lead time, right? These companies planning for 10 years out. That's what you got to do, though. Google catches a bit, up by 0.3%. Meta shares right now down by 3.1. All right, they're giving it up. Let's check in the chip stocks. NVIDIA up by almost a full percentage point. AMD slightly in the red. Intel shares giving back some of that gain from the exuberance of last week. Intel off 2.9% right now. All right, we jump around to some of the movers today. What's their symbol? Novo. I should know it. Let me pull it up here. NVO. There you go. Yes, you got Novo. Now you talk about a possible dead cat bounce, folks. So here, I'll pull over the article. You're higher after they receive U.S. approval for liver disease. Okay, Novo Nordisk climbed by 5% Monday after the company's Wegovy obesity drug received accelerated approval from the U.S. FDA to treat serious liver disease. Granted approval for the treatment of metabolic dysfunction associated, I can't list that last one, MASH in adults with moderate to advanced liver fibrosis, in combination with a reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity. So that's the first GLP-1 class treatment to be authorized for MASH, a progressive liver condition that affects about 5% of the U.S. adults. It also advances the drug's applications beyond diabetes and obesity treatment. Well, obesity impacts everything, right? Yeah, and develops its presence in the metabolic disease market. So they're the first and only one there right now. And that approval was based on the first phase of one of their trials in which Novo said Wegovy demonstrated a significant superior improvement in liver fibrosis. So 2/3 of the people treated with it achieved the resolution with no worsening of liver fibrosis, compared to just 34.3% who were administered a placebo. You know, it's going to be remarkable how this plays out in some of these drugs that are coming out for the GLP-1s, because the placebo impact is always strong, right? There's always an impact on the placebo. The mind is a beautiful thing, right? Even when you're not taking something, if you think you're taking something, the mind starts acting like you're taking something, and that in itself gives you the benefit that the drugs are supposed to give you, the placebo effect. But it is interesting when they give you a drug and then they tell you to combine it with eating less and working out more. And in theory, if you were able to do that without the drug, that would do everything in itself a lot of the times. And so I wonder how that's in. I'm not saying it's that easy, okay? But there's not many other studies like that where the drug is trying to get you to lose weight. They're telling you to act in a manner that will get you to lose weight as well. And, hey, we're in a whole new frontier, man. There's nothing wrong with thinking like that, you know? Because, yeah, it's interesting that they say, and, of course, they should say that with every single study should be, and eat better and work out more. But for weight loss, of course it is. And they're taking GLP-1s. So, of course, the placebo, because that's a pretty big placebo impact, right? 34% of the people taking the placebo. All right. Let's jump to some of the car makers. Ford, up by 0.1%. You have Tesla. They were in the red. Not right now. Up by 0.7%. Catch a little bit. Up to $333 right now. You jump over to Comcast, flat right now. And this one's going to be an interesting one. And everything gets politicized with politics to a certain degree. But I don't know how this one's going to play out, man. Versant to rename MSNBC. And they're going to drop the logo. And it's going to be MS Now. My Source, News, Opinion, World. And they're going to rebrand it. And they've hired about 100 new positions to create their own newsroom outside of the NBC newsroom. It's quite an endeavor. So in January, the Versant CEO So they're separating from Comcast, NBC, Universal, and he said they weren't going to change it. And yeah, they're going to change it. They've hired 100 new positions, 40 journalists from Bloomberg, CNN, Political, other news organizations, established its first ever DC bureau. Cable news. Not exactly a bright spot that's flourishing, no matter where you fall on the spectrum right now, folks. So they're going to kick off a national marketing campaign. That's a tough one, man. Comcast, flat right now. Jump over to some of the streamers. Netflix shares. Oh, we'll get there. All right, we'll take a look at some of the streamers when we get back, folks. We'll talk some Netflix. We'll talk some Disney. I'm going to take a look at Warner Brothers Discovery, and we'll check in on Paramount Skydance, see how it's doing after its big roller coaster week. We'll be right back.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets slightly in the red. Remember, Jackson Hole, Friday, Chairman Powell. Expect a little volatility on that Friday speech by the chairman. But talking about some streamers right now, Paramount Skydance down 13 pennies. That's a 1% move. And yeah, you might give all this back, folks. But UFC 7 years. I tell you, I bought some Paramount Skydance prior to this acceleration, fortunately, and I'm just going to hold it for a while. Okay, you're going to get extreme volatility. There's a real chance, man. Okay, what do you think this stock's going to do when they have a UFC event on the White House? If they do, okay, but that is real, man. This stock's not going to be at $11 if you got Dana White and Trump hosting a UFC match on the front lawn of the White House, okay? Along with everything else, selling the advertising for an event like that, putting it on CBS, it's kind of live sports, man. I'm amazed that they were able to get that contract and that $7 billion for 7 years of the UFC, when you put that up to a Netflix, to a HBO, even to a Prime, that is a big asset, man. Very few assets in our society command the type of fear of missing out with that live events, right? We got NFL coming up, thank goodness. NFL. Patriots come to town to Tampa this year. I might go see them when they're playing. They got a beautiful new running back, right, in the draft. But yeah, so they're in a good spot, man. And check out that weekly volume you got last week. All right, now you got Mean Mania in there, so be careful. Warner Brothers Discovery, they participated to a certain degree last week as well. Yeah, but be careful of this one. Not quite the same deal. As in, that looks like some weakness, man. You know, you have that nice sign of strength up to 1350. You do. The selling didn't have volume. But that's lower lows and lower highs from Warner Brothers Discovery. And we jump over to Netflix shares, up by 0.1%. All right, Meta shares pushing the market right now, down by 3%. That's weighing on the NASDAQ a bit, down by 41 points right now. S&P's off by 6. Gold contract flat at 33.83 right now. We got the dollar chopping around near 98. Folks, thanks so much for kicking your Monday off right here. Have a great day. Have a safe day. Basil Chapman's coming up next with the Tiger Technicians Hour. We'll see you at 3 o'clock, folks. Have a great day, everybody.